What up, y'all? It's your boy Nerdy Red 23. I'm here to talk about a legendary LP. Marvin Gaye released his 11th album, What's Going On, of May 21st of 1971 through Motown Records and its subsidiary label Tamla. It was recorded between 1970 and 1971 in the sessions at Hitsville U.S.A. Golden World and United Sound Studios in Detroit and at the Sound Factory in West Hollywood, California. And it was Marvin's first album, and to credit him as a producer and to credit Motown's in-house session musicians, known as the Funk Brothers. And the album, it's a concept album with most of its songs seguing into the next and has been categorized as a song cycle. The narrative established by the songs is told from the point of view of a Vietnam veteran returning to his home country to witness hatred, suffering, and injustice. Marvin's introspective of lyrics explore themes of drug abuse, poverty, and the Vietnam War. He has also been credited with promoting awareness of ecological issues before the public outcry over them had become prominent. Mercy, Mercy Me, and What's Going On stayed on the Billboard top LPs for over a year and became Marvin's second number one album on the Billboard Soul LPs chart, where it stayed for 9 weeks, and on the number two spot for another 12 weeks, respectively. The title track, which had been released in January of 1971 as the album's lead single, hit number two on the Billboard Hot 100 and held the top position on Billboard's Soul Singles chart 5 weeks running. The follow-up singles Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology, and Inner City Blues Make Me Wanna Holler also reached the top 10 of the Hot 100, making Marvin the first male solo artist to place three top 10 singles on the Hot 100 from one album. And the album was an immediate commercial and critical success, and it came to be viewed by music historians as a classic of 1970s soul and significant to the development of progressive soul. Multiple critics, musicians, and many in the general public consider What's Going On to be one of the greatest albums of all time and a landmark recording in popular music. In 1985, writers on British Music Weekly (NME) voted it the best album of all time. In 2020 and 23 revisions, Rolling Stone listed What's Going On as the greatest album of all time. So by the end of the 1960s, Marvin had fallen into a deep depression following the brain tumor diagnosis of his Motown singing partner Tammy Terrell, the failure of his marriage to Anna Gordy, a growing dependency on cocaine, troubles with the IRS, and struggles with the Motown Records, the label he had signed with in 1960. One night, while holed up at a Detroit apartment, Marvin had attempted a suicide with a handgun, only to be stopped by Berry Gordy's father. And Marvin started to experience more international success around this time as both a solo artist with hits such as I Heard It Through the Grapevine and Too Busy Thinking About My Baby, as a duo with artists with Tammy Terrell. But Marvin said during this time that he had felt he didn't deserve his success, and he felt like a puppet, and Barry's puppet and Anna's puppet. I had a mind of my own, and I wasn't using it. And in March of 1970, Marvin's singing partner, obviously already mentioned, Tammy Terrell, died of a brain tumor, and the singer responded to Terrell's death by refusing to perform on stage for several years. In January of 1970, Motown had released Marvin's next studio album, That's the Way Love Is, but Marvin refused to promote the recording, choosing to stay at home during this secluded period. Marvin ditched his previous clean-cut image to grow a beard and preferred to wear sweatsuits instead of dress suits and sweaters. And the singer also got back in touch with his spirituality and also attended several concerts held by the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, which had been used for several Motown recordings in the 1960s. And around the spring of 1970, Marvin had also begun seriously pursuing a career in football with the professional NFL team, the Detroit Lions of the NFL, I already mentioned, even working out with the Eastern Michigan Eagles football team. However, his pursuit of a tryout was stopped after the owner of the team advised him that any future injury would derail his career. Marvin befriended three of the Lions' teammates: Mel Farr, Charlie Sanders and Lem Barney, as well as then Detroit Pistons star Dave Bing. And more to it, Ronaldo Benson, who was from the Four Tops, while traveling on his tour bus with them on May 15th of 1969, the Four Tops member himself already witnessed an act of police brutality and and violence committed on anti-war protesters who had been protesting at Berkeley's People's Park in what was later termed as Bloody Thursday. Benson later told author Ben Edmonds, "I saw this and I started wondering what was going on. What is happening here? One question led to another. Why are they sending kids far away from their families overseas? Why are they attacking their own kids in the street?" Returning to Detroit, Motown songwriter Al Cleveland wrote and composed a song based on his conversions with Benson of what he had seen in Berkeley. Benson sent the song to the Four Tops, but his bandmates turned the song down. Benson said, "My partners told me it was a protest song." I said, "No, man, it's a love song about love and understanding. I'm not protesting. I want to know what's going on." And Benson had offered the song to Marvin when he participated in a golf game with the singer. Returning to Marvin's home outside Outer Drive, Benson had played the song to Marvin on his guitar, and Marvin felt the song's moody flow would be perfect for the originals. Benson eventually convinced Marvin that it was his song, and the singer responded by asking for partial writing credit, which Benson allowed. And Marvin added new musical composition, a new melody, and lyrics that reflected Marvin's own disgust. Benson had said later that Marvin tweaked and enriched the song, added some things that were more ghetto, more natural, and which made it seem like a story and not even a song. We measured him for the suit, and he tailored the hell out of it. During this time, Marvin had been deeply affected by the letters shared between him and his brother after he had returned from service in the Vietnam War over the treatment of Vietnam veterans. So Marvin had also been deeply affected by the social ills plaguing the United States at the time, and covered the track Abraham, Martin, and John in 1969, which became a UK hit for him in 1970. And Marvin cited the 1965 Watts riots as a pivotal moment in his life, in which he asked himself, "With the world exploding around me, how am I supposed to keep singing love songs?" One night he called Berry Gordy about doing a protest record, to which Gordy had chastised him. Marvin, Marvin, don't be ridiculous. That's taking things too far. And the singer's brother Frankie wrote in his 2003 autobiography, My Brother Marvin, that while reuniting at their parents' home in D.C., Washington, D.C., Frankie's recalling of his tenure at the war made both brothers cry. At one point, Marvin had sat propped up on a bed with his hands in his face. Afterwards, Marvin Gaye had told his brother, "I didn't know how to fight before, but now I think I do. I just have to do it my way. I'm not a painter, I'm not a poet, but I can do it with my music." In an interview with Rolling Stone, Marvin discussed what had shaped his view on more socially conscious themes and music and the conception of his 11th album. And then in 1969 or 1970, I began to evaluate my whole concept of what I wanted my music to say. I was very much affected by letters my brother was sending me from Vietnam, as well as the social situation here at home. I realized that I had to put my own fantasies behind me if I wanted to write songs that would reach the souls of people. I wanted them to take a look at what was happening in the world. And yes, the rest is history. Of June 1st of 1970, Marvin had entered Motown's Hitsville, U.S.A. studios to record What's Going On, and immediately after learning about the song, many of Motown's musicians, known as the Funk Brothers, noted that there was a different approach with Marvin's record from that used on other Motown recordings, and Marvin complicated matters by bringing in only a few of the members while bringing his own recruits, including drummer Chet Forrest, longtime Funk Brothers members Jack Ashford and James Jamerson and Eddie Brown participated in the recording. Jamerson was pulled into the recording studio by Marvin after he located Jamerson playing with the local band at a blues bar, and Eli Fontaine the saxophonist behind Baby on For Real, also participated in the recording. And the rest is history. Man, nobody could ever make a record like this ever in a lifetime. The title track, What's Going On, features a very soulful, passionate vocals and multi-track background singing, both by Marvin. The song had strong jazz, gospel, classical, music orchestration and arrangements. Reviewer Eric Henderson have Slant had stated the song had an understandably mournful tone in response to the fallout of the late 1960s. And then counterculture movements, Henderson had wrote that Marvin's choice to emphasize humanity at its most charitable rather than paint bleak pictures of destruction and disillusionment is characteristic of the album that follows. This album will always be a classic, man. What's Going On, Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology was another emotional play this time for the environment. Motown legend, musician, and Funk Brothers leader Earl Van Dyke had once mentioned that Berry Gordy didn't know of the word ecology and had to be told what it was, though Gordy claimed otherwise. This album will always be a classic, man. Nobody could ever touch a classic like this in a lifetime. So the follow-up single, Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology, peaked at number 4 on the Hot 100 and also went number 1 on the R&B chart. And the third and final single, Inner City Blues, Make Me Wanna Holler, peaked at number 9 on the Hot 100, while also rising to number 1 on the R&B chart, thus making Marvin the first male solo artist to place 3 top 10 singles. The rest is history. Man, nobody could ever duplicate a classic like this. I love this album. And to let y'all know, this is a reissue album right here. I do have other songs on this album. There's other songs on this that Marvin produced on here. I already mentioned What's Going On, What's Happening, Brother, Flyin High in the Sky, The Friendly Sky, Save the Children, God is Love, Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology, Right On, Holy Holy, Inner City Blues, Make Me Wanna Holler. It's talking about poverty in the urban life. And also talking about Jesus too, with Save the Children, God is Love, referencing to the Lord. And What's Going On, stripped version. This is a reissue album. There's some other mixes on here. What's Going On, mix 1 with no strings or horns. What's Going On, rhythm and strings instrumental mix. Symphony, a demo version. Original mono singles. What's Going On, God is Love. Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology. Sad Tomorrows. That's another classic right here. Inner City Blues, Make Me Wanna Holler. Make Me Wanna Holler. Holy Holy. I just love this album, man. This is one of my favorite Marvin Gaye records. Marvin will always be my all-time favorite and my music list forever. What is your favorite song off this incredible gem? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and comment and follow your boy. God bless and stay safe. If you don't have this record, go search for it and bump it on your turntables, y'all. Peace.